and welcome to the Wealthy Teacher Show. I am your host, Dr. Victoria Boyd, and today it's our green show. And I mean not so much about money, but the green plants and everything out there, especially we're going to be talking about cannabis and hemp. Not so much about the cannabis, but the hemp area that I've become really interested in, and our guest is with Hemp-Way that is really laying down some phenomenal advocacy and awareness programs. They're not so much into the products right now, but they want public awareness because that is the gap. Hemp was a leading product in the United States, throughout the country. For tens and thousands of years, it was in China. So we're going to try and bring some enlightenment about who is Hemp-Way as a company, and our guest will be an unusual representation of the first efforts they made to get into the marketplace for advocacy and awareness. So that's going to be exciting because it's something that I'm really interested in because I saw the gap in education, and that's also why I launched my hemp workshops every second and fourth Saturday right here in Las Vegas. If you want to find out more about those workshops, it's real easy. hempworkshops.eventbrite, and that's with BRITE.com. hempworkshops.eventbrite.com. Come on out, join me. Hopefully I can give you a lot of information. Now, getting back to what I was just talking about, since we're going to be talking about cannabis and hemp, FDA makes us do a little disclaimer. So there's going to be a disclaimer at the end of the show, but also if you want to read it in detail, just go to hempworks.com, or you can go to my website, drvictoriaboyd.com, to read the FDA disclaimer. Okay, so now I got all the legal stuff out the way. I can start having fun now. I don't have to worry about all that. Got that covered. Moving on. Okay, I've been on a really steep learning curve. I've been researching products, fabrics. That's how I came across this jacket. This is made out of hemp fibers. It is so soft. But these are the type of materials that were around for hundreds of years until a whole movement to demonize it came about. And so it's really fascinating what I've been learning. All of the professionals, the different businessmen and women that are actually coming into the industry to give back, to serve the community. So I'm really excited as we move forward with that. So when we talk about the Wealthy Teacher Show, I'm going to digress a little bit. It's produced by the Philanthropreneur Foundation. The Philanthropreneur Foundation is a nonprofit. And so if you're familiar with what a nonprofit is, we have to have support from the community. And one way that we're doing it, but we're giving back at the same time, is through the interviews that I conduct, the guests that I bring on, that you can be the expert. And I want to help you be the expert because there's no better way than to have a video of you explaining your services and what you do and be recognized as a wealthy teacher in this community. So you can do that with just a tiny little donation to the Philanthropreneur Foundation. You can come on the show, you can be my guest, and we can help you get your message out. In fact, later in the show, we're going to talk about the value of videos, how they play a role in society today. So help yourself out, help Philanthropreneurs Foundation out, come on the show, be an expert, and then you'll have a video, the MP4 raw footage that you can use for your marketing anytime you want. Before we get to Voices from the Field, I want to thank our sponsors, Agent with Heart, and Softfront, Customer Relation Management, and Rock's Place, HempWorks, changing lives one drop at a time. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Board-Bound Leadership, the building blocks for nonprofit success. This is where you will empower yourself and the board to be assets every organization deserves. You can unlock the knowledge you need for board service with tools such as Board-Bound Leadership Book, nominated for the 2017 Terry McAdam Book Award from Alliance for Nonprofit Management. Visit the Board-Bound Leadership Learning Library, where you'll find board certification, training, and board bites, all designed to help you meet the challenges that may arise every day and erase the fears that we so often see. Board-bound leadership makes board membership a rewarding experience. So start today at boardboundleaders.com.
And welcome back to the Wealthy Teacher Show, and this is Voices from the Field. I have a really special guest today, but before I get into that, see this jacket? Yes, this is made out of hemp. I purchased this because it was made out of hemp. The fibers are hemp, and believe me, it is so soft. But what I've been looking into is a lot of different products that are actually re-entering the marketplace, because we need to look at the whole industry beyond what's happening here in Nevada and the dispensaries and all the cannabis things and all of that. Hemp was an industry that was the leading industry, not only in the U.S., but across the globe. It has been around for 10,000 years. And so it's almost like we have to rebuild its reputation. And so even though, you know, this show is sponsored by Rock's Place Hemp Works, I met another phenomenal organization called Hemp-Way. And in fact, my son, 3 o'clock in the morning, is texting me, I just came from First Friday. They have a whole hemp district, blah, 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 blah. And that's really what got me turned on to looking up what is this Hemp-Way? And then I found out it's affiliated with First Friday. And then I saw who was running. I'm like, oh my God. I needed to learn more about it. And so that's how I sort of reached out, just to find out, what is this Hemp-Way thing? And since that time, I have totally been introduced. My eyes have been awakened. I've met some phenomenal people. And then just last week, I was invited to a roundtable by Hemp-Way. And that is where I met Chad Wilson, and he is my guest here right with me right now. And so may I introduce to you Chad Wilson. He is the Director of Marketing for Hemp-Way. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You know, you actually came up to me. I was sort of standing there. I was perusing the room and staking my area, actually looking for my chair. But
yeah.
But you.
I was wondering if you had eaten too many of the treats.
Yes, because they had hemp meatballs.
They were so good.
Oh my! I tried to tell my husband about them. He was like, "And why wasn't I at that event?"
Well, your husband gets to have it. We're actually featuring that and a few other tapas at our next
at June 1st, at First Friday, because Chef Myra, who was the chef for that roundtable, will be at First Friday again. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves right here. Okay,
we're talking about food.
Oh, I know, and I haven't eaten, and my stomach's probably going to start making all these noises in the mic here. Okay, but first, what I really found fascinating about the entire Hemp-Way company, or they're calling themselves a media company, which is really unique because of what they're doing. They are coming out from a position of information, awareness, and advocacy versus trying to sell a product, which to me, that's like 99.9% of all the other companies out there. They're looking at how can we get a piece of this product pie. You're coming out from the beginning of media, but I understand that's also your background. Mm-hmm. You know, so, okay, what is the short and long version of who is Chad Wilson?
Well, the short and long version is that I'm originally from Tuskegee, Alabama, the pride of the swift-growing South. I had a great upbringing of parents who worked in public administration. My mother was a dietitian for the Board of Education. My father ran the city of Tuskegee for about 30 years.
Great.
Not following too much in their footsteps, but I got involved in the liberal arts during elementary school all the way through high school, and found that I had some talent. And when I started Tuskegee as an engineer, I got pulled aside and brought into the field of media
Okay.
to run the television station,
Okay.
and then also was mentored by a guy from Los Angeles who eventually mentored me into moving to Los Angeles.
Okay.
And that's where I spent the last 12 years working as a producer for BET, MTV. I've done some private stuff.
I think some of you might recognize those names, BET and MTV.
Yeah.
Just little people in the world of production. And
Yeah, no, I've gotten a chance to work with some big names.
Yeah.
But the skills that I learned in LA and the experiences that I had in LA and all over, did some time in New York, Miami, overseas. The things that I learned in Los Angeles prepared me for what I'm doing now.
Absolutely.
And this is a startup. We're bootstrapping. And that's the biggest thing I think that's happening over the last 7 years is that we've transitioned from the tube
Yes.
to the YouTube,
Yes.
to the internet.
Yes.
And that's why shows like this are possible.
Absolutely. And that's, I try to tell our audience every day in my intro, video is the platform now for marketing.
I wish somebody were, man,
I
5
mean-
years ago, you couldn't get anybody to watch a video on.
Right. And now, 8 billion people, I want to say per hour, globally, because it's so accessible. It's on your phone, it's on your watch, but it personalizes who we are, and we actually can have a direct touch onto our audience by this video presentation. That's why I really, I had a radio show for 4 years, and literally I was sitting there in my PJs, propped up in pillows and things, and I knew probably that position, if I had put on like a suit or something, I probably would have come across. I probably came across real laid back, and just, oh, she's in her jammies again, because I was in that mindset. I didn't make the transition. I had guests from all over the world, literally on the show, because it was a call-in format. But I could never give that personal touch because they couldn't see me as a person. And when I had the opportunity to just sit down behind this desk and play with the camera. That's all I was doing, was playing with the camera. Right, Rick? I was literally playing with the camera. I was like, wow, that was fun. And did the research and found out that is the power of marketing right now. That's where the seed of people's imaginations, what message they're trying to get across. And that's really what your role is with Hemp-Way. You're the director of marketing, but it's mostly video based. It's mostly the images, because the first video I saw was when you did the first Friday, and it was a lot of images that were put together in a stream. And
Yeah, that's what a video is nowadays. A lot of imagery. I had the privilege of being taught by some of the best, and I learned actually that I'm not just shooting video. I'm creating a movement, a visual movement, and that's just my style. It's been interesting to teach that over the years. I've had several kids that I've mentored, and everyone has their own take. But I want to give people an experience in these videos, not that they're just looking at a recap video. That's
experiential. It's
experiential is exactly what we're catering to, because video has been so one-sided for so long. Even what you're talking about with webcamming and the chat rooms, like you could have that interaction, but to have that person-to-person interaction, and which is what's being missing from the equation for a long time.
Yeah.
Is that I was even resistant to online education for a long time just because of the interaction that I was getting in the classroom.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to get that online.
And it is very hard because I actually have some video virtual training online. And even while I was recording them, I felt flatline. I call it a one-side or a very one-dimensional type of learning. And coming from performing arts, I taught dance for 40 years. And that was so aesthetic and so three-dimensional in terms of what you're doing. Even though I was convinced, and I did I mean, it's out there now, 8 series. To me, I couldn't take it. I could not learn that way because I need to have multi-layers. I am a multi-intelligence type learning, and I need that touch, the tactile, I need the kinesthetic, I need all of those elements.
Exactly.
But even yes, this type of video program, because I have live guests on, I'm getting that multi-dimensional
Absolutely.
feel from it, and so I get really excited. And that's one thing when I first met with Joey Vanis, who is the mastermind, I'll say, behind this movement. For him, when you meet him, he's so laid back and unassuming. You wouldn't notice him walking down the street,
He's working on that.
You're
He's
trying to change
working-
that.
We're changing that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's actually changing that.
Okay. Well, because
That's another
literally,
subject.
when we first met, we met at the Palms. Not a plug, but that's where we were. And I was sitting there, I'm drinking my tea or whatever, and literally he was standing I didn't even know that's who he was. Because, and then finally he walked over, he said, "Good morning, Doc." I'm like, oh, okay. He was just very unassuming. I was looking and reading his resume, and then seeing him in person. It makes sense, but he is just so underplayed for all of the great things that he has done, and he is that mastermind behind Hemp-Way. I'm sure he had a lot of people in the tribe feeding and supporting him. But let's talk about Hemp-Way now. Like I said, it's not so much about CBD or any of those things. It's about a message. It's about why has this product been demonized? Why? What makes it this sacred plant? And if it is a sacred plant, why don't people know that right now? And that's what Hemp-Way is really about. You're a media company and not a hemp company or,
Not yet.
Okay.
But I think it all starts at media and education and awareness. To speak on the first part about why was it demonized in the first place? Well, anything that is great in America seems to be suppressed.
Yeah.
I remember hearing the story about Toyota and the MR2. It was one of their most revolutionary production units that they had on the line. And in the 80s, when they started producing it, it was working so well that they weren't getting anybody to buy any more because the ones that they had,
Yeah, they didn't break down.
they didn't break. So that's kind of where I feel hemp was coming from. Is that it's one of those things that one of the materials,
Yes.
are natural resources that seem to be so sustainable that no one else could really make any money, and especially if they had control over it.
Well, that's how the whole propaganda was paid for back in the 30s was William Hearst, who owned the newspaper,
newspaper.
and he owned the wood pulp farms that made his news, and so he wanted to get rid of competition. And
Now, Mr. Hurst, wouldn't it just made sense just to
buy the
hemp?
And I always think, then why didn't he just go and because hemp is easier to grow, uses less water, the turnaround in crops, it grows faster, you can have triple the yield of crops, and to me he was making not a real sound business choice when but
They didn't have the internet back. They couldn't Google the information. That's what it was.
Okay, we'll blame it on that.
Well, Google,
Yeah.
it's your fault.
Yes, Google. You should have been out in 1930 and 35, and then when they finally passed the bill in 37.
Who knows? There probably was the internet back then.
They suppressed
They
it.
suppressed it.
Oh my. Okay,
Ah, man.
we've got some real conspiracy theories
All
going
right, we're
on.
going to get off of this. So
And we're having fun. But yes, but literally he and Asslinger and then the whole, became that illegal, because before that they were fining farmers for not growing it,
Right.
which just doesn't make sense. The first American flag is made out of
Out of
hemp.
hemp.
The first 5 presidents' portraits are painted on hemp.
The Constitution.
The Constitution is written on hemp, and so when you look at its history, I mean, literally it goes back 10,000 years because the Chinese wrote about it in their journals, their medical journals of this. It's called Mu, that's what they call it, how it was helping and doing certain medicinal things, or basically just keeping people healthy. And that's where I started my entry into it. I wasn't looking for a business. I was in pain. Like I said, I taught dance for 40 years, and I have half a cartilage in my knee from an injury. I have herniated discs from injury, but that was my career, and I just sort of learned to live with it. But then as I went into my golden years, I don't take much stuff anymore in terms of I'm not putting up with pain and things. And so I literally was looking at those alternative things because I was taking 12 ibuprofen a day to manage.
It's not going to work.
And I knew I was not doing anything good for me and my body except suppressing pain.
Right.
And so I started researching, and my husband, being who he is, who wrote the book Rocks Growing Guide,
Okay.
you need to try this. So I did, and it was the CBD oil with very low THC, but literally within 7 days, my pain was gone.
Wow.
You can't have a better testimonial than that, And so what if it's not
actual and measurable.
Yeah, so what if it's not research-based or whatever those terms they're trying to say why it's still illegal? That's my research. And so I became an advocate. I became telling my story, and that's how I evolved being involved with the CBD because I'm helping other people. I'm serving other people
Absolutely.
get out of pain. Hemp-Way is doing that same way, but taking a different path. As I said, my son got so excited, text me in the middle of the night that he had just come from the Hemp-Way because we were looking for that tribe of people that believe it. Because I felt I was spending almost all my time educating and convincing people, no, this is good for you. And so even now,
You're probably already consuming it. That's the thing, is like the stigma of it, right? We've created such separation between marijuana in itself and wellness, cannabis and wellness. There just was a huge gap.
Yeah.
And now over the years, we've started to close that gap. And then CBD has the discovery of the cannabinoid,
the endocannabinoids
endocannabinoid system,
yeah.
has really, really created this smaller gap. And then with hemp on the way and the discovery of other uses beyond that, it's really gonna just tie everything together.
Yeah.
And that's what Hemp-Way is really. We want to take away the stigma.
Absolutely.
It's a normal thing. It can be cool, guys. It's okay.
It's lavender essence. Okay?
Exactly.
It's lavender.
You can send it to school with your kids.
Yeah,
They're not gonna. The feds are not gonna show up to their kindergarten room because they have hemp milk. It's about having that conversation.
And I'm sure many people just aren't aware of all of the products that are already on the marketplace. Like you just mentioned, hemp milk. Okay, we've heard of almond milk and all of these soy milks, but there's a hemp milk. Chef Myra cooked with it the other night. That cake. Oh.
Guys, unfortunately, I don't think the cake's gonna be at Hemp-Way this coming Friday, but
oh my God,
this was probably the best cake that I call it the caramel crumble. Yeah.
Oh.
I was actually trying to hide it from my friends at the dinner so that they wouldn't find the leftovers. It was that good.
You go and get a piece of cake at these events and things. You go, okay, it's sweet. It'll solve that. I found myself scraping the plate,
scraping.
Oh my, because it was so moist. Oh, and it was made with hemp milk, and then it had this caramel drizzle on top that it was also made of hemp milk, and then she put some little flowers on. Anyway,
it's amazing.
I know, but we started the show with food.
Yeah, we're ending.
Is that a thing?
Okay, well, maybe this is a test that we should focus more on education
Yeah.
in the food.
Absolutely.
Which is what we're doing this Friday.
June 1st,
June
yep.
the 1st.
At first Friday.
Hemp is food.
Hemp
We've,
is food. And in fact, I'm going, because I have the whole list of all of, like
yeah.
in July, hemp
got-
is cars.
Oh, yeah, we've got some really special surprises.
And then
coming
hemp
up with that.
is legal, which so many people are just misconfused. They're just
Yeah.
misinformed, confused, and
But maybe we'll start them off with, hey, the Constitution is hemp, and
well, I wrote that in my husband. I should. Oh, my husband wrote that. No, okay. I'm a ghostwriter. Okay. Oopsie.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
That's in my husband's book.
Okay. All
About
right.
the Constitution. And then I write articles for Vegas Voice, and I do a lot of blogs. And that's one of the first things that I start with. You know, your Constitution, your flag are all made of this product.
Wow.
What is it? What am I talking about?
Yeah.
You know, you need to know. But then, let me see, September is hemp is fashion. That's why
Oh, yeah.
I am in my
We got space for you.
yeah, hemp jacket. In fact, I'm ordering a whole bunch of hemp T-shirts to have screen printed because I want to say I am hemp.
Right.
I'm a hempreneur.
And then coming up with some of these themes too, like hemp is fashion, for example. I was like, guys, we're not thinking. You've got hemp is fashion way after Fashion Week. You know,
yeah.
we got to be on the calendar.
fact-
I used to work in the fashion industry. How's that going to make me look?
I had on my guest last month, Rain Thomas, who was on the runway at Fashion Week, but it was for Project Cancerland. And
Wow.
you know, so yeah, Fashion Week was 2 months ago or 3 months.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's all different parts of the season, but I mean, at that time of the year,
Yeah.
September is the time. So we want to be a part of that conversation
Absolutely.
online and offline.
Yeah, well, fashion, and everybody can relate to Fashion Week. You know, whether it's spring,
Or they can
spring-
relate to fashion. I
to
mean, not
fashion,
everyone
period.
relates to Fashion Week,
right? But fashion, period. You know,
Yeah.
I hope they do. No, but mostly. But then October is hemp is home. What is that about?
I mean, the products in our home.
Okay, just talking about what's.
The products, the things that can be and will be.
Well, where I ordered some of these things, I mean, they have upholstery, fabric that you can buy, pillows and everything. I mean, they have a lot of products.
Yeah, and I mean, getting out of the conversation of us being in the product game, we want to promote products. Let's be honest and clear about that. We definitely want to support the community of people that have invested in creating products with this material.
That's your advocacy role. That's
For
what
sure.
I said. You're about advocacy and awareness.
Yeah.
And maybe you aren't in the product line right now, you know, and I know Joey mentioned that, you know, eventually that's the where
So,
you're-
yeah, we're playing catch up too. You know, we want to
Yeah.
be a part of
Yeah.
the movement.
Yeah, and-
our own movement.
Absolutely. But the awareness and advocacy will, for the long run, build whatever products you launch and put into the marketplace.
Absolutely.
Because people will understand. And then finally, before I want to make sure I get all these months. November is hemp is life. I believe that. You know, it has brought me back to what I consider a full functioning, you know, where I'm able to function at 100% where I was probably at 50, you know. I had to pick and choose what I did based on the pain that might happen in my knee, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm one of your biggest fans.
I'm connected to it, and I'm so glad to even have someone from your generation speaking to me about it, because my parents are from your generation,
Right.
and whether they're in the closet or not, they just didn't tell me. I've been advocating alternative medicine and alternative healing for a while because my parents go to the doctor a lot.
And you'll be surprised. Okay, and well, I was surprised. Okay, because I can speak openly to my generation. When I found the relief, I started talking about, oh my God, this works so. And they were like, oh yeah, I went to
How
the.
did they receive you?
It was amazing how many people had already been to the dispensary. But I was like, so do you understand the terminology? And that's when I learned they were going because they heard it would help their pain, but they didn't understand products. And so that's why I got on my soapbox of now I have hemp workshops every other Saturday, you know, or twice a month, just to introduce people to terminology. Do you know what that bottle label is saying? And most of them, they didn't. They were just, oh, well, they told me. I said, no, you need
The
to
story of our lives.
you need to know what, because the dispensaries, yes, they're doing a service, but they're there to do business. They want
Absolutely.
you to buy whatever it is they put in your hand. You need to be an informed consumer of whatever, whether you're going the cannabis route or you're going the CBD route. Know what's the difference, what to look for, what creates a quality product, and basically be your own first advocate of what is going to work for you, because everybody's body is different.
Yeah,
and that it's just something you need to know. And I'm just glad that Hemp-Way, that I came across you. I should thank my son for
In your sleep.
in my
We're
sleep.
in your sleep, too.
Yeah, it came through a text in my sleep. Hemp-Way. And, that I then took the initiative to actually reach out to Nicole Hester, who is Joey's sister, and set up a meeting with them to say, hey, tell me, what are you guys doing? I want to be in on this. I want to learn more and see how I can help you promote your message. And I think this is the first step, having you on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I'm just looking forward to see how Hemp-Way evolves and how it becomes a national movement. And like we said, the video platform can do that.
Absolutely.
Okay? So how can we find Hemp-Way?
Well, you can first visit us at www.hemp-way.org. You can
It's a
find us-
nonprofit, I should mention.
Yes, we are a
Yep.
nonprofit.
I should have mentioned that from the beginning.
That means send us all your money. Send it on down.
Well, I have a special passion for nonprofits because I'm the president and founder of the Philanthropreneur Foundation.
Which is a great effort
Yeah.
in educating entrepreneurs.
Yes, so we just have so much alignment.
It's like we were made for each other.
Oh my! Here we go. Love at first sight. Okay, but yeah.
But yeah, you can find us on all social media
Mm-hmm.
at Hemp-Way Media. And you can find me on Instagram and every social platform at Chad J. Wilson. But yeah, this
Everybody-
is the movement.
yeah.
Hemp-Way is
Need
the
to
movement.
connect with Hemp-Way, with Chad, because he's full of information. Just knowledge. That's why he's on the Wealthy Teacher Show, because you are a wealthy teacher.
I have a lot to offer.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're a wealthy teacher. Okay, so remember, Hemp-Way dash, said it wrong. Hemp-Way.org. Get all the information. Get educated. If you have any other questions, reach out to me. Come to the hemp workshops every other Saturday. But once again, thank you for being on the show,
Thank you for having me, Doc.
and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Board-Bound Leadership, the building blocks for nonprofit success. This is where you will empower yourself and the board to be assets every organization deserves. You can unlock the knowledge you need for board service with tools such as Board-Bound Leadership Book, nominated for the 2017 Terry McAdam Book Award from Alliance for Nonprofit Management. Visit the Board-Bound Leadership Learning Library, where you'll find board certification, training, and board bites, all designed to help you meet the challenges that may arise every day and erase the fears that we so often see. Board-Bound Leadership makes board membership a rewarding experience. So start today at boardboundleaders.com.
Thank you for joining us on the Wealthy Teacher Show. And as we wrap up, I want to remind you, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we're on all of those platforms. Please come and follow us, especially on YouTube, because that's where all of these shows are posted on the Wealthy Teacher Show channel. We'd love to have you as a subscriber, because in your inbox, you'll get notified the moment that every new episode is posted, and you don't want to miss not one. So join us on all those platforms, and you'll hear all of the information that we have to share. So once again, as we wrap up the show, I want to thank our sponsors. That's Agent with Heart. Those are the real estate agents that want to give back to the community. And Softfront, Customer Relation Management. Make sure that your data is put together correctly. And finally, Rock's Place, HempWorks, changing lives, one drop at a time. So join us next time as we bring another fascinating wealthy teacher onto our show. See you next time.